So darn slow. Come on. This thing going so slow.
Media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it
if
wasn't
I have
just a
to
meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana. Because
But it
if
wasn't
I have
just a
to
meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana.
You just
We
said that
ought
you're
to be
creating
talking
a
about
story.
public policy.
Sorry, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you
Yes.
created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
We are
accurate.
creating. We are. Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it.
So he's just openly admitting he made it up. You're just gonna openly admit you made it up. That it's a story you told to distract from your childless cat ladies bullshit. You just decided, oh, you know what? Let me just throw these Haitians under the bus. Let's let them get death threats just for me, to help my campaign, to help me and my clog-brained, soft-brained friend get into the White House.
Hi, ça passe. Staying silent in the face of racism and hate is something that I refuse to do. This past week, the lies that have been spewed about the Haitian community, about my community, have been disgusting, deeply hurtful, and dangerous. Now, this is not about politics. It's about humanity. We must condemn this kind of hatred, this kind of racism for anyone. I have always been a proud Haitian immigrant, coming to America, working hard. That's what we do. Coming from gratitude. And I will not sit by and let people talk about my community in any way they want for their own. Hi, sak passe. Staying silent in the face of the power we have is the power to vote, to register and vote and stop this madness, this chaos. Haïtiens, c'est pour nous sortir, c'est pour nous voter, c'est pour nous register, c'est pour nous parler avec tout le monde que nous connaissons qui ka vote.
Look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as
being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris.
Newspaper Publishers Associations, let it be known. And listen, this is exactly why we're not going to even go into this latest alleged assassination attempt, because they lie so much. I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it. I don't care what people say. I'm not going to believe that stuff. The guy gets on there and admits he made it. JD Vance says he made that stuff up. Yeah, forget about it. But folks, we had such a great week, but unfortunately, we start this morning on such a horrible, horrible note, horrible news. I just found out. Didn't even get a chance to discuss it with Greer, but Tito Jackson, the founding member of the legendary Jackson 5, has died at the age of 70 years old. His sons, the 3T, confirmed the news on Instagram. Taj, Terrell, and TJ says some of you may know him as Tito Jackson from the legendary Jackson 5. Some may know him as Coach Tito, and some also may know him as Papa T. Nevertheless, he will be missed tremendously. Born Toriana Adderell Jackson on October 15th, 1953 in Gary, Indiana. Tito was an integral part of the Jackson 5, the third of 10 children to Catherine and Joe. Heartbreaking news. Tito had his own band for a while. He played blues and jazz, and I've got a chance to see him a lot do that at spots in North Hollywood and other places. And there was his favorite restaurant, and I'm trying to think of the name, but I know the location, on the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Topanga Canyon in Woodland Hills, and I meet Tito there all the time, and we eat. He'd have business meetings there, and the guy was. Many know my history with the Jacksons, but regardless of all of that, Tito was such a graceful, really, really soldier for his brothers, his sisters. Tito was not the oldest, but he certainly was in a role that you would expect the oldest to be in, looked up to by his siblings. In a lot of ways, the peacemaker of the family. Tito Jackson was really, really one of those dudes that if you didn't know him, you certainly wanted to know somebody like a Tito Jackson. He won't. This won't get the coverage, of course, um, that his brother received. But understand this, and something Tito, and to his credit, and Jermaine has said in the past, and many times we'd have that discussion. There is no Michael Jackson without the Jacksons. There is no Michael Jackson without Tito Jackson. There is no Michael Jackson without Jermaine and Jackie and Marlon. Um, but Tito Jackson was one of the, as you guys say all the time, one of the real ones. Always that hat, that little pop up fedora, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but that wasn't just for showbiz. I mean, you'd see Tito, like I said, we'd go to the coffee shop and Tito would have on that hat. That was Tito's signature. Um, Never forget a conversation we had the week before the Jacksons were to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, standing in the kitchen there at Havenhurst. And Jermaine and Randy had gone through some really rough times. They were bickering, they were fighting. Um, and the brothers, Jackie, Tito, Marlon, um, and Jermaine, trying to figure out uh, what they're gonna do when they go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If Randy and Jermaine gets into it, and particularly having them on the same stage, and this argument went back and forth. And I just remember interjecting, saying, "Listen, um, you guys, you're not gonna have to worry about that." Well, why is that, Stacy? Why is that? Well, Randy was not a Jackson 5 member, and you know, and it gave them a sigh of relief. It was ironic. It's not that they didn't know it, they didn't think about it. And then Tito sat his brother Jermaine down and said, "Listen, we're gonna get through this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, and then you and Randy gonna figure this out." And whether or not they ever figured it out, who knows? But it was not for the lack of an intermediary like Tito. During Michael Jackson's um, child molestation trial in 2005, yeah, we saw his family come there, but Tito, along with his brother Jackie, was a presence, a daily presence at the Neverland Ranch, making sure that their brother was not only physically okay or up to the task of this trial, but mentally. When Michael had all of the security, including the Nation of Islam, it was Tito who was there making sure even that the nation was taking good care of Michael throughout that trial. Tito Jackson, what a guy. Listen, didn't always see eye to eye, but what you could never argue with was the fact that Tito was a real one. Tito Jackson has died at the age of 70. Tito will definitely be missed. I never forget, obviously, the victory tour, which is what that photo is from. Um, but the last time the Jacksons, as brothers, all six of them, was on that stage together, Madison Square Garden, just before 9/11, and rocked Madison Square Garden. So many celebrities were there. You name it, they were there, and they saw the Jacksons take that stage. It was the first time since the Victory Tour that they had taken the stage together. And I just remember going over to Catherine. She was sitting in a box there with Elizabeth Taylor, some of the grandkids, Macaulay Culkin, and I just said, "Don't say nothing. It's all over your face. It's all over your face." I mean, you talk about a moment where you saw tears almost come out of Catherine's eyes to see her sons on that stage together, and close to her, you had Tito and Jermaine closest to her on that stage from where she was sitting, and you saw Tito light up. Marlon yelled his mother's name out because he knew the importance of that moment, and Tito, it seems like he turned it up a notch on that bass guitar when he saw Catherine's reaction to them hitting that stage. Um, Folks, it is really a devastating, devastating thing to wake up to a text that Tito Jackson um, has died. He was just 70 years old. So we got to remember Tito. That's for sure. And no doubt, everyone in that family, from Jackie, the oldest, to Randy, the youngest, and in between, Janet and Latoya, Marlon, they will miss him as much as they miss Michael. And Catherine is 94 years old. I don't know the state, her state of well-being, her state of mind. Um, but if she's even aware, I mean, and I say that with all due respect because I don't know her at 94. Um, it has to be absolutely devastating to lose another child. And remember, folks, fans certainly know this. Real fans, real deep fans know this, but you know, Catherine lost the baby at birth when she gave birth to Marlon. They were twins, Marlon and Brando, as in Marlon Brando is what what the name of Marlon's twin was. But the iconic Jackson family has taken another major loss. Joseph, of course, passed away a few years ago as well, and as mentioned, Catherine at 94 years old has been the backbone of that family. But among the brothers, the steadfast one has always been Tito. And yes, as Mike V notes, so many of our legends are passing. James Earl Jones, Tito Jackson, and Frankie Beverly, all within a week now, right? All within a week. Southbound 3000 recalls that Tito would also do a food travel in the South, tasting the South's best country foods. Um, yeah, he did a lot of things like that. That was certainly the Tito Jackson that I had the privilege of knowing for years. Um, Tito Jackson, again, it's sad, sad morning that Tito has died at 70. His kids, I mentioned briefly his kids, 3T, they had some musical success in the 90s. And of late, Taj, Terrell, and TJ have been performing with Tito, Marlon, and Jackie as the Jacksons. And they have been doing their thing on the road, doing shows. Most recently, we got to see Catherine visit the show. Um, when and Latoya backstage with her, um, and I'm sure that that was done to uplift her, and no doubt it was uplifting to her to see at least three of her sons and her grandchildren together on that stage performing. I know it's always been a hope of Jackson fans that the family reunited for a show with Janet. Obviously, that if that is to take place, unfortunately, it will have to take place without Tito. We start this morning also. I say we start, we've already started, right? Just devastating news, folks. I mean, I just feel devastated. I really do. Um, the Riverside, California Sheriff's Department is investigating a viral video that shows a deputy entering illegally into a black woman's home and saying he now owns the house. A video containing profanity circulating online showing a deputy refusing to leave the woman's residence despite her request. According to the video, a minor answered the door after the deputy rang the bell. Captions in the video say the minor closed the door after seeing the deputy, only for the deputy to open the door and let himself in. The video then shows the deputy arguing with a woman identified by the sheriff's office as Adele Cherie, who is 44 years old. And she tells the deputy that if he does not have a warrant, he cannot be there. Um, Chris asking, was she black? Um, According to what I read from the transcripts there, I thought she was black. Nonetheless, the deputy who stands just inside the door tells her that he will not leave the house. Ben Crump jumped on this immediately. He started tweeting out about this, saying that he wanted to know more about this, that this appeared to be ridiculous. Now, she was arrested for charges of resisting arrest and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. It is unknown whether or not the case is moving forward after video has been released. The sheriff's office did say that they were investigating. So we will see exactly where that case goes. Well, the congressional Yes, before I get to that, exactly. We also we'll mention that too. The RNG officer who arrested Tyreek Hill has been investigated 13 times and suspended 6 times. So this officer has been a problem for a while. The Congressional Black Caucus's Foundation's 53rd annual legislative conference culminated in an influential Phoenix Awards gala at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in downtown DC over the weekend. This year's theme was From Vision to Victory, amplifying Black voices. It was not just a celebration of Black culture and heritage, but also it was a call to action to defend and expand fundamental freedoms. um, we saw the vice president and the president. The president was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award during the Phoenix Awards. And he says, with the CBC, we went big and we went bold, and we are better off today than we were 4 years ago. Maryland Governor Westmore was everywhere. He was at the Phoenix Awards. He was awarded the CBC Foundation's annual legislative conference's honorary co-chairs award. And he says, I am standing before you as probably the most improbable governor in America. It's an exciting time for our country. And he says, I'm so grateful to be your partner in the work. The thing I mentioned Governor Moore is because I said he's been everywhere, but he's also been so presidential. Wouldn't you say? This a guy that's carrying himself like he's the president of the United States, um, or at the very least, he is a future president of the United States. No one carries himself in a more esteemed way. No politician, at least that I've seen, than Governor Moore of Maryland. Um, what a guy! What a guy! And I know everyone was clamoring to get photo ops with him and have a word with him. And very gracious governor, uh, perhaps the most gracious there is, in that row. He's a good guy. During the Phoenix Awards and tributes to those African Americans who passed away this year, the tributes included Frankie Beverly, of course, James Earl Jones, Fat Man Scoop, Rich Homie Quam, actress Erica Ash, the Reverend James Lawson, baseball Hall of Famer Willie Mays, and so many others, including with Orenthal James Simpson, better known as OJ. Um, but a lot went on there. There was a lot of really good panels. In fact, Representative Hank Johnson led a session on Supreme Court reform. That was really interesting. Representative Lauren Underwood moderated a panel on Black maternal health, always an important issue for the African American community. And the highlight, too, was the 16th annual Black Women's Roundtable Public Policy Forum series in partnership with the CBCF. That spotlighted Black women's leadership, power, and influence in shaping a new movement and political era, particularly as the nation heads into this 2024 presidential election. There was also Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin's mother, led the Mothers of the Movement workshop at the conference. The session brought together African American mothers who had lost loved ones to police violence. These mothers shared their stories and discussed their efforts in advocating for criminal justice reform and stricter gun laws to prevent future tragedies. And of course, one of the things that people are talking about, Austin says, Wes Moore, that's his alpha man. But one of the other things folks are talking about is the dress that Vice President Kamala Harris wore. A sequin dress lit up the stage on Saturday night. The vice president was styling. But it was quite the week for the Congressional Black Caucus's legislative conference. Also, the National Newspaper Publishers Association held its leadership awards and reception at the Conrad. And a who's who was there. 4,500 tickets were distributed for the leadership awards. And I'll tell you what, it was one of, if not the best, leadership awards and reception the NMPA has been able to put on. Uh, Everything went well. I mean, the food was good. The the drinks kept pouring, and we had I don't know that DJ's name, unfortunately, but Shanae and I was dancing. It was on point. It was absolutely on point. The atmosphere, there was a an excitement and a buzz that don't always reach that level of excitement. I mean, it's always a good time, but this one was really it was something a little bit different. And we even got uh, Senator Warnock to come through. He picked up an award, and a person who wasn't picking up an award but came through anyway was Attorney Ben Crump, and so many others came. Miss Black America. It was always good to see Ashley. She was there along with Miss Senior Black America, Miss Senior Black America DC, Miss Senior Black America Virginia. So it was really pretty a pretty cool event. And what was also a cool event, folks, on Friday, y'all know Greer was doing her thing on Friday. She led the whole crew into the White House. The South Lawn transformed into a historic celebration of Black excellence, bringing together actors, authors, television personalities, journalists, writers, activists, and artists. It was the first such.
Because we already in the media pit doing interviews. We've talked to some of your favorite influencers, some of your favorite actors and actresses, as well as some pretty notable people who have their own shows and things like that are talking to you about what's going on with this election and all the things that are major news. So, but also kind of like a secret, they got drinks here. They got some food here. Somebody said that the grits was good, but I ain't tried it yet. So just stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Dawn Montgomery here at the Black.
So I set Dawn up. I thought they were grits. They wasn't grits, but they were good. It was some sort of porridge mixture. I don't really eat porridge, but it was a mixture with shrimp and some other stuff. It looked like they had put some cheese in it, so I thought it was like cheesy grits with other stuff. And you know, Dawn does not do sugar in her grits, so get that straight. Neither do I, but Dawn is more prolific about that. Um, and we just had an absolute ball. Greer worked Greer worked herself to death, though. I gotta tell you, she was out in that sun on top of that uh whatever that what that lift thing, and she got all the great shots. While Randy, Dawn, myself, Niel, we were on the ground there talking to people like Ileana, what how you say her name, Van, whatever, fix my life. And it was so interesting. So I asked Ileana, however you pronounce her name, I asked her, I said, okay, so how would you fix if Donald Trump came to you and said, fix my life? she she had a she had a two-word response. She said, seek Jesus. I said, wow, wow, incredible. Um, but it was yeah, Michelle, we all with Dawn on that. You can't yeah. And Dr. Child says I don't eat sugar in my grits either. Yeah, we just can't do that. We just can't do that. But they had some nice like Bellini. It was some champagne and peach drink with peaches in it. It was pretty good. And naturally, they had some sort of it was a really refreshing cocktail that had bourbon in it. And I tell you, I was really taken by it. I'm not a bourbon guy, I'm a Scotch man, but I said, you know what? Let me just put one thing away on my bucket list. I was telling Erica Lowe at the White House. I said, Erica, you know what? I think at least once in a person's lifetime, they should get drunk at the White House. And she said, I agree. Go for it. And naturally, I got to hang out at my table. I call it my table. It wasn't my table. It was the table where I was sitting at, where we all were sitting at. I got to hang out with the one and only Erica Alexander. Y'all remember Erica from Living Single and of course the Cosby Show. Remember she was cousin. She was the cousin in the Cosby Show, and she eventually moved in with them. Cousin Pam, right? Was it cousin Pam? And we had such a great conversation. Jeffrey Boney came over and talked with her as well. It was good to see Boney. Um, but she's having Erica Alexander is they're naming a street after her in Philadelphia on the 21st of this month. I learned from her and her partner there that they're doing this on the 21st. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And you talk about keep it real. We had a great conversation because one of the things she said, and I told her it reminded me of something I heard Denzel Washington say some time ago. Denzel was asked, now I don't know how true it is because you keep seeing photos of Denzel everywhere with hanging out here and there, whatever, with other celebs. But he said when asked about hanging out with his co-stars and stuff, he says, "No, me and my wife, we got our neighbors who are our friends, and we these are our colleagues, our co-workers. I don't hang out with them. That's why you don't see me at these events." Erica was saying that that's how she's been able to um, maintain all these years by not being in the mix like that. She says even Tisha Campbell had said to her at one point, "Hey, you don't hang out with anybody. You don't join these parties and stuff like the rest of us." And she said, "Nah, I got to keep focused." She said that's how it keeps her focused. So good for her, and she looks great. She looks great. She's 53 years old now, and she looks fantastic. And congratulations to her. She's getting a street named after her in Philadelphia. Her and her partner doing some great things there. Can't remember his name, but of course, when you spend a good chunk of time talking to Erica Alexander, you're just not going to be remembering her partner's name. It just doesn't matter. so, um, so we had a really good time. African American chef Kwame Onwachi um, provided all of the eats, and it was good. It was really good. What a really, really great day at the White House. Of course, Karine Jean-Pierre spoke. She also, as you heard, Garcelle speak. Greer played the clip, Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show, Haitian. She alluded to that as well. And she just noted that there are hundreds of Black leaders on the South Lawn of the White House who exemplify Black excellence. She talked about the powerful roles of Black Americans and those becoming the norm. And so it was really, really a well done event. Um, Got to say they did well. Um, I you always have your little pet peeves, but I'm not going to go into those. We got a chance, like I said, to talk to Ilyana. We got a chance to talk to.
Need
Here we go.
any introduction, but I want you to tell people who you are.
That's what happened when they can't pronounce your name.
Right, 100%.
Yamla Vanzat, the one and the only. Yamla Vanzat.
You know I can't pronounce it. Yeah, but I do need you to fix my life, though.
No, not at all.
No, but this is it's a privilege to have you here. Black excellence at the White House. Obviously, when they talk about Black excellence, you're certainly a name that comes up. What does this mean to you?
I am so excited to see all the youngins, all the little babies in their little beautiful dresses. You see, I wore a short dress, and I could be included in the group. But I think that's where we have to go, celebrating, acknowledging, embodying excellence.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it's for the young people.
Yeah, and we haven't seen anything like this in previous administrations. I mean, we've had a Black president, but we've not seen this. The fact that
They did some stuff.
they did no,
Because
but
I
a
came.
Black excellence brunch.
Okay.
Is what I'm talking specifically. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to take anything away from other
Right.
folks, but the Biden-Harris administration from day one seems to have reached out to the Black community specifically. Now we're headed into this election where people say it's the most consequential, and we have potentially our first Black woman president.
Woman of color.
Woman of color. So when you hear the most consequential, from your standpoint, talk about how consequential it is.
Well, for me, this is the transformation of a nation from the dominant white male supremacy to the feminine, nurturing, unifying energy that brings people together, not separates them. It's the transformation of a nation. And it begins with words like opportunity. It begins with words like unity. It begins with words like cooperation. It begins with words like welcome. You know, just words that let people know you are welcome here. We are all the same. We're all in this together, and we're going to work together to make this better for everybody. So for me, the candidacy of Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is about transforming a nation, transforming the consciousness of the nation, and bringing people into a higher way of being in this nation.
Last question. I got to ask you, how can you fix Donald Trump's life?
Some things need Jesus.
She was not playing, was she? She was not playing. One of the favorites, other people were there that like Martin, Kyla Pratt, Monica sang as
Just share
well.
with us why and how you're happy to be here at this Black Excellence Brunch.
Well, because Black is excellent, and it's a good time to be alive. You know, we're here right now doing our 53rd ALC and here at the White House and celebrating the accomplishments of President Joe Biden and looking at him passing the baton, and we're thankful for all that he has done. And now we're looking at Kamala Harris becoming, we're going to elect her to be the 47th President of the United States. We're looking at winning the House back so that Hakeem Jeffries can be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So this is a good time. And then when I think about the accomplishments and what we need to do, going forward, we need to make sure that we're focused on affordable housing, on affordable medicine, on making sure that we have access to capital and creating wealth. Those are items that have been topics of what we've had thus far at the 53rd ALC, connecting and then talking to our constituents from across the country so that they go out, because what we have to do is get the messaging out of what we're doing, what's at stake, and why their involvement is so important.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That was Representative Gregory Meeks. I tell you who Dawn was excited to talk to. We got a chance to speak to was Houston rapper David Banner. Everybody was excited to talk
Here
to
with
David Banner.
David Banner.
Oh man, go ahead.
It's Black Excellence at the White House. What it means to you, my man, to be here at the White House, Black Excellence Brunch.
For me, it's growth. It shows growth in me because I've been invited to the White House a lot of times and I've always said no. And I realized that, sometimes you thwart the opportunity to help our people because we're not in the right rooms at the right time. And can't nobody make you do anything. So no matter what room I go into, I still have to make a decision as a Black man. So I know what I stand on. I know what I want. And now, me being in these types of places helps Black people so very much. Because if I'm not here, then somebody else will take that whatever spot that I'm in whatever room I'm in. And I'm grateful.
One quick question before you go. We see a lot of hip-hop artists with big platforms. They start pushing certain candidates and certain policies that a lot of people say they don't know what they're talking about. Talk about the responsibility of someone like a David Banner who has a major following that you have when you are posting information.
Well, first of all, it's the media's fault. Like the media, they know who to ask what question to. And what people want is drama. They don't really want the truth. So if the media and people in general would stop following certain people for certain things, then we would work stuff out. I'll give you an example. When I debate on CNN, right? Whenever I debate, they don't bring another white artist. They bring doctors, lawyers, engineers to represent their people, right?
I don't even think, as intelligent and as well-read as I am, that I need to be speaking for Black people on certain things, right? So we have to be more responsible about who we put in front of the camera and who we allow to be comfortable about saying things about Black culture. That's on us. We stand on bullshit. We stand on if somebody step on our shoes or don't bring back our dough. Why we can't stand on our culture the same way? That's how I feel. Motherfuckers feel too fucking excuse me. They feel too motherfucking. See, you thought I was gonna stop cussing. I didn't. They feel too comfortable with our culture, and I think that's partially our fault. That's it. David Banner, appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, he said a mouthful. Power 96 says he's from Mississippi and a graduate of Southern University. David Banner. And Austin's trying to get at me here. He says another alpha man. He says, Austin says it's not too late for me. All right, Austin. I'm going to have to call on Pam. And it's true. Dr. Child says we need to be careful who we allow to speak for us. What he said made total sense in that, like he says, he gets on CNN and he's a hip hop guy. And what do they put up? They put up scientists and stuff to debate him. That's ridiculous, right? To have conversations with. And bottom line is, not everybody can and should be speaking for the general population. And they shouldn't be seen as such. So he is spot on with that. Language we could do without, but he's spot on. Folks, if there was ever a year to go to the nation's capital for Howard University's homecoming, this might be the time to go. This year's festivities, according to the Griot, will occur not only as one of the school's distinguished alumni is running for president of the United States, but also after Forbes magazine ranked the school as #1 among HBCUs. 6 HBCUs, including Howard, made the annual list of 500, which is curated from the more than 5,000 colleges and universities in the United States. The list highlights the top 500 schools that routinely produce successful, high-earning, and influential graduates from all economic backgrounds with less student debt. Howard is ranked 273rd overall, but it's also ahead of Spelman and its brother school, Morehouse in Atlanta, Florida, A&M University, and or FAMU, I should say, not A&M, FAMU, and North Carolina A&T, and Hampton University in Virginia. So congratulations, Howard University, obviously doing a great job over there. Power 96, aka the Orangey, says you can always join a grad chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha. Oh gosh, does that include like the hazing part though? Because I'm not doing that. Not doing the hazing. Somebody's gonna get hurt. We don't do hazing around here. But congratulations again, Howard University. That's a great story there that they have. And just think about this. Forbes overall says that they rank 273. I bet it's a whole lot higher if you take into everything into consideration. But Howard, we'll take it for now. We'll take it for now, right, Howard? HU, Hey, so check this out. You guys who love science, who love the moon and all that stuff, a full moon on Tuesday, tomorrow, will coincide with a partial lunar eclipse, which will give people in North America, South America, Africa, and Europe a chance to see part of the moon's surface obscured by Earth's shadow. A partial lunar eclipse occurs as Earth passes between the moon and the sun, which creates a celestial alignment that blocks sunlight from hitting the lunar surface. Tuesday's event will feature September's full moon, which is known as the harvest moon because it's often associated with harvest time in the northern hemisphere. It will also be a supermoon because the moon will be at its closest point to the earth in its 27-day orbit. When a full moon happens to occur at the same time as its closest approach to Earth, it appears slightly bigger and brighter than the average full moon, which is why it is known as the supermoon. Now, the partial eclipse will begin tomorrow evening at about 8:41 p.m. Eastern time, and that's when the moon starts entering part of the Earth's shadow. Even with good weather and clear conditions, the dimming effects will likely be tricky to see until the top edge of the moon becomes obscured at around 10:13 p.m. Eastern time. This is according to NASA. The eclipse is expected to peak at about 10:44 p.m. Eastern, when roughly 8% of the moon's surface will be in full shadow, and that'll come about 10 minutes after the moon becomes full at 10:35 p.m. Eastern time. So after the peak of the eclipse, the moon will then exit the Earth's shadow, ending around 12:47 a.m. on Wednesday. So there you have it, a little science on Let It Be Known. And the other thing, the thing about, unlike with solar eclipses, there's no need to wear any protective eyewear when watching a lunar eclipse, and it can be viewed safely with the naked eye. So Power 96 says there's no hazing. He says their GPA is too high for that nonsense. He said, try. Uh-oh, he's going in on Omega. We're gonna have a fight on this place. He says Omega, their GPA is around 2.0. Wow. Sounds like some fighting words. Some fighting words. Meet me after school at 3 o'clock in the schoolyard. But folks, it truly was one of those weeks, really good week for us. And for everyone in Washington, I tell you it was a great week for hotels and bars and restaurants. I mean, the hotels, of course, was gouging you. The Residence Inn, $780 a night. Residence Inn, folks, because of all that was going on. Are you kidding me? It was a lot, a lot. And as I mentioned, Ben Crump was he dropped in. Let's take a listen to Attorney Ben Crump.
Attorney Crump, let me ask you this. I know you don't have much time, but so you're one of the few when it comes to our people, right? You have attained, not that it was your goal, but you've attained this celebrity status, right? Yet you still come back to the black press. We don't always get that. Why is that important? And what's your message to those who don't come back?
Well, shame on them for forgetting where they came from. See, I want to believe that the black press and I are in this together. We're lifting as we climb. As the black press go up, we go up because we are in this together. We can't make it by ourselves. I can't do what I do without the National Newspaper Publishers Association. With those black newspapers in all those cities, all across America, when I come, they cover the story. They let our people know we come in to fight for justice on the front line, and they make it where I'm not by myself. That's why I come back to the black press.
Well, this is the red carpet, so I got to ask you a question that probably Dawn would ask. What are you wearing?
Hey, man, I'm wearing Ben Crump tie collection, and I think this is a Ferragamo suit.
There it is. The one and only Attorney Ben Crump. We appreciate you so much.
Hey, I appreciate being on the red carpet. I'm civil rights attorney Ben Crump, also known as Black America's Attorney General. Let it be known every morning. Tune in to the NMPA Let It Be Known morning show.
I heard it. He could bring a lawsuit if you don't tune in. Ben Crump doing a commercial for us. How about that? It was that type of week. It was that type of week. And it would have been a little bit better if Dr. Nicole would have made it. Dr. Nicole, y'all gotta keep Dr. Nicole in your thoughts. And also understand that at some point in time, you can all get from some free Kentucky Fried Chicken courtesy of Dr. Nicole when she starts owning all of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. So she was going to come down to the NMPA's Leadership Awards. So her job was having some sort of potluck type thing. And she's like the boss in her office. She hates when I say that, but she is. And so she decides, okay, she's going to contribute to make it easy because she got stuff to do. She's going to contribute a bucket of chicken. And so she runs over to Kentucky Fried Chicken Thursday and gets the chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken failed to put down the fact that they had either just mopped the floor or that they had had a spill. There was no signs on the floor to say that it was wet. And Dr. Nicole, maybe I got to call Ben Crump. Dr. Nicole took a fall. Dr. Nicole needed a doctor. And so she was not able to attend. So there's a lot of pain and suffering here that I have an issue with Kentucky Fried Chicken because I was feeling the pain by her not being present. So Kentucky Fried Chicken, start writing the checks and make one out to let it be known as well. Because we're going to let it be known that Dr. Nicole should have been with us in Washington and not in an emergency room, courtesy of Kentucky Fried Chicken. We don't like that. Mike V is asking any thoughts on JD Vance and Laura Loomer's comments about what they said about VP Harris will have in the White House smell like her. Yeah, we got just a couple of minutes, Mike. And how about you guys give your thoughts? Write your thoughts in these next couple of minutes, and I'll read them. But I'll tell you this: that it's really sad that we knew we had racism in this country. Lauren Loomer is such a disgusting human being. I mean, to call her a lowlife would be to compliment her. The stuff that she has been saying, especially the last couple of days, particularly when there are rampant rumors coming from the Republican side, coming from the MAGA people, that her and Trump are pulling a Trump Stormy Daniels type stuff, in front of the wife. That's hearsay. We don't know that to be true, but that's what's coming out of the MAGA people. They don't like Laura Loomer as well in her presence. But what we do know to be true is the stuff, like Mike V points out, the stuff that she has said, including this vow thing. I'm not going to repeat it. It's easily accessible on social media. But what she said, she didn't just say the vice president slept her way to the top, but she committed certain sexual activity to get to the top. It was so disgusting and so classless. And this is who folks got to choose as to whether they want to be president. Somebody who has people like JD Vance and Laura Loomer entrenched in his camp. It is absolutely disgusting, but it's par for the course. And this is why it is absolutely ridiculous when I hear certain individuals like of color go in on the vice president with false things. It's all right to go in on somebody with facts, but with false things, with things that you hear those other folks say, the loonies say, those the bases, and then they try to back this up with pictures of her and Montel Williams, her and former Governor Brown, Willie Brown. And here's the thing with that: she was a single woman who dated Montel Williams. So what? So what? Was she not to ever have dated anybody? We don't know the nature of that relationship, where it went, what happened, and nor do we need to know. Um, They show pictures of her and Montel all the time, as if it's a bad thing. I mean, what did Montel Williams do other than have a talk show? I know, and then he was really sick at one point with, I think it was kidneys or something. But I mean, and Laura, don't get me started on what she may or may not have done to get in his good graces, great you know, graces, whatever. Um, no, we're not going down the path of Kamala's dating He's just pointing out the fact that they are somehow trying to use that as black woman can't date. She was single. So was he. Um, and how about Donald Trump? Now, y'all know I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. Flavor Flav is very much a Taylor Swift fan. But how about Donald Trump tweeting or posting in his favorite all caps, like a 6-year-old had his toy truck taken away from him. I hate Taylor Swift. I mentioned earlier how Governor Moore appears so presidential. And this guy who served in the White House for 4 years has never, never, even remotely appeared presidential. It used to be a thing that you at least want to. You know, Ronald Reagan was an actor. And even with all his limitations and his defaults and his defects, the guy was a presidential appearing guy. He appeared presidential. You know, George H.W. I mean, there were some presidential in him. Bill Clinton, despite his being, you know, Slick Willie, it was presidential. Young Bush, I mean, I just don't think he was competent. So I mean, but that was not for lack of trying that he was not, you know, he didn't appear presidential. Yeah, I mean, and of course, you know, and y'all know I'm no big fan of Barack Obama, but who was more presidential? Who appeared more presidential at all times than Barack Obama? I dare anybody to come up with somebody that was 100% of the time in the public eye, when he was in the public eye, as presidential or more presidential than Obama. And never, all of the aforementioned, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush Sr., Reagan, going Carter, Ford, I guarantee you if they had social media, no way they would have posted, I hate anybody. They wouldn't have posted that about their opponent. Mike Singleton, there is nothing normal about this. Nothing normal about this. Unbelievable. But this guy is going to be getting millions of votes. And JD Vance, how do you have the stomach to support a guy like that? And forget about Laura Loomer. That's where it's at, folks. We got some things coming up, so stay tuned to Let It Be Known. We will be back tomorrow with some more headlines and news that you can use. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Subscribe to the Black Press, read the Black Press. It is pivotal that you do so. Our liberation and freedom is dependent on our ability to tell our own stories and to understand truths written by us for us. So make sure you are subscribing to your local Black press.